basing on his name right now, but he apparently wore a mask.
Daddy issues encompasses a lot of things. Well, what do you mean when you say daddy issues?
I was trying to get back to that. My dog's coming back.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant daddy issues in the sense that there's a baby and kind of like,
That would be
well, that's still daddy issues. So what's your question? Michael's back, yeah. Well, I mean, probably not favorable. Elijah's father's coming back. Does he have daddy issues like his brother? Yes, is the answer to that. Perhaps, probably.
How is Elijah? I mean, Kaylee is going to be pulling away a little bit. How is he going to deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question because it's, I think the tragedy right now is kind of the pretense of the tragedy. It's kind of like the fake grief of kind of like, well, you know, hey, we lost a child is almost sort of the equivalent of having actually lost a child, you know? So I think that's, I don't foresee passionate romance in a time when we're in the wake of them kind of, you know, fabricating this ruse, which is, hey, we lost a kid. But the ruse is interesting because they're kind of like this crouched animal, you know. They're waiting to strike, especially under the leadership of Elijah, you know. It's going to be, it's a weird balancing act this season. I've noticed it's a balancing act between the kind of the relationships of these primary protagonists and the kind of the world and the war sort of closing in around them.
Do you have any thoughts? I was going to say, do you have any thoughts about in 1920s when Rebecca and Klaus ran away from New Orleans? We saw in the flashback that Elijah stayed behind. Have the writers shared with you, or you had any thoughts in your mind what you were doing?
It's an excellent question and one I've been banging on the doors of the writers to supply me with an answer for. But I do not. I only have very small fragments which I cannot share, which aren't particularly exciting, by the way. But it's a great question. Thank you for asking. I guess, and come and work for me.
I know you can't say too much about it, but can you kind of set up Elijah's journey and the journey where he's headed?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's sort of continuing this quest to sort of restore his family to power. But I think that there's this sort of slow awakening that's happening in him that's like, I'm not certain my brother's actually fit to do this thing that I've imagined he's been fit to do for like 1,000 years. And that's got to be a strange personal apocalypse of some kind.
Right. Pretty big revelation.
Yeah.
Can you tease any particular scenes with you and Joseph coming up?
Let me think about it. No. Let me think. No, there is. I don't want to be more fair than that. I'm trying to think if there's anything I can kind of let out of the bag. Shit. You have to understand, I've just done 5 back-to-back shows of like Saving Hope, and like before doing this. So right now my head is in medicine and being a doctor and kind of. So it's just odd for me to address the whole originals world. It's like it's so far in the rearview mirror right now that I'm like I'm not in the middle of filming, but I can only really talk to in a sort of a generic sense, which is that Klaus doesn't want to wait for this war, you know, and Elijah does, and during the course of their sort of silence, I think that these other factions have grown relatively strong, including the Wolves and including Marcel's ever-growing kind of anarchic army, you know. And I think that's quite rightly like a great threat to Klaus. But Elijah would prefer to wait and strike.
I wasn't a big fan of Phoebe, Elijah, and Haley's coming together. Though I kind of wavered to the end. Do we possibly
I don't know the answer to that. I sincerely don't know the answer to that. But I know that right now it's a very difficult place. It's weird because she's sort of pushing him away from her and demanding that he be there, you know, and he's sort of trying to observe a degree of civility and allow her sort of dignified grief, even though again she's not actually grieving a child, but it's kind of like, but in a way, can you imagine a new mom got away from a newborn baby? That's got to be its own kind of grief. I don't think anything could be more dangerous than a woman taken away from her baby.
How have you been juggling saving her from your own baby?
With beer. Oh, I'm getting there. I'm tired, I must say. There's a cute meme online of this little dark baby boy, and he's kind of this, and for some reason, I guess he can't be any more than like 14 or 15 months old, but I guess the parents have positioned his fingers under his nose, and I think the meme says, and I'm going to misquote it here, but I think it says something like, how should I put this? You will never sleep in again, you know? And it's so true. It's like there's a relative exhaustion to it, like just with fatherhood. It's like it's a beautiful exhaustion because you're giving to like this beautiful new soul who I love. But it's like it's like my wife put it the other day. You're always sort of awoken like somewhere in the middle of like that REM sleep. So you always feel sort of so exhausted. You never feel like. It's not even about the quantity of time. It's not like, hey, I got 5 hours last night, so I slept. It's like, for some reason, she always wakes you up in the middle of like I don't know, like the deepest sleep, but it's worth it because she's so perfect.